I know construction's a bit heavy on the peninsula, so we'll wait a few more minutes. I know construction's a bit heavy on the peninsula, so we'll wait a few more minutes. Construction's a bit heavy on the peninsula, so we'll wait a few more minutes. Construction's a bit heavy on the peninsula, so we'll wait a few more minutes. Construction's a bit heavy on the peninsula, so we'll wait a few more minutes. Christy with Aaron here. I know that makes 5, but Jessica Olson, she did not communicate she would be on Zoom prior.
Yeah, so she is joining as a non-voting member.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does that mean we have a quorum then, or one more person needs it?
We're still waiting for a quorum. Still waiting on Leticia.
One person.
Mhm. She did confirm she was
Wait,
going
one
to
more
attend.
minute.
And then we had last minute cancellation just this afternoon before the meeting started. So
Everyone's seeing that it's now 1:07. We will hold our next meeting on July 31st. However, I'd still like to commence with the presentations. So I will turn that over to Ruben.
Okay, so for presentation, we have 5-1, which is AMBAC draft titles. Go ahead.
hey, everybody. Regina Valentine, Senior Planner with the Association of Monterey Bay Area Governments. As mentioned, I will be providing a presentation on our 2024 Title VI program. Next slide, please. For some background, Title VI of the Civil Rights Act states that no person shall, on the grounds of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination on any program or activities receiving federal financial.
Sorry, I'm gonna
Okay,
put you on pause.
no problem.
I'll bring you back.
No problem.
Now with the addition of member McKillop, we now have a quorum, so I'll call the meeting to order and also.
And also. Yeah.
Get our seat. All right, so with the addition of the two members, we'll go ahead, and call the meeting to order at 1:09 PM. We could commence with a roll call attendance.
Member Macias,
Present.
member Ramirez,
Here.
member Merritt,
Present.
member Magana, member Gross, member McKillop,
Present.
member Hernandez,
Present.
member Jimenez, and member Garcia.
Here.
So we do have a quorum.
Good. All right, and are there any guests who would like to introduce themselves? Just a quick introduction, name, title, organization, if you so choose. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to public matters not on the agenda. If there's any comments. Hearing none and seeing none on Zoom, we'll move to the consent agenda, the approval of the minutes from the January 31st meeting. And I trust everybody's had the opportunity to read and review them.
That just makes motion.
And that just needs a motion, yeah. Move for approval.
I'll second.
So we have first member Merritt, member McKillop, second. So we'll go ahead and do a roll call. Member Macias,
Aye.
member Ramirez. We'll come back. Member Merritt,
Aye.
member Gross, or actually member McKillop,
Approved.
member Hernandez,
Aye.
member Garcia,
Aye.
and member Ramirez. She's on Zoom, but she's muted.
Sometimes I've had challenge with
Mhm.
credentials allowing me to unmute.
Oh, on.
on
There.
Zoom.
Okay.
So,
Moving then to item 4 for memberships. Item 4-1, I'll reiterate that.
Sorry, really quickly, this is member Ramirez. I was not able to unmute or start my video this whole time, but I just got credentials for that, so my vote's an aye.
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Minutes pass.
All right, item 4-1, membership reappointment. This is again just a notice that member McKillop, Hernandez, and Gross are reappointed to the board. And then item 4-2, recommending Amy Kuda to the MST Board of Directors for the Mobility Advisory Committee. Her application was submitted and sent out through the packet. So I think if she would like to address the board, please feel free. If not, we can make a decision.
Do you want me to say something, Christy?
Yeah, if you so choose.
But be glad to be appointed back to the MAC committee. I've served seniors in this community now for the better part of 15 years. Continue to serve them with the Central Coast Senior Services and as chair of the board for ITN. So I have a vested interest in the mobility of seniors. So I'm hoping that you would find me a good addition to the board. Any questions for me? No? All right.
No. That one requires a motion to approve.
I'll move for approval of the recommendation to accept Kuda's application to the board.
And I will second it.
We have first member McKillop, the second member Hernandez. So we'll go ahead and move forward with the roll call vote. Member Macias,
Approved.
member Ramirez. Member Merritt,
Aye.
member McKillop,
Approve.
member Hernandez,
Yes.
member Garcia,
Aye.
and member Ramirez. Member Ramirez.
Hi, my permissions got disabled again and just got turned back on, so my vote is aye. Thank you.
So that's approved.
Well, welcome Amy Kuda back to the board, and we'll see you here July 31st. All right, and then moving back to presentations, Ms. You'd like to come back up and return?
All right, thank you. So Regina Valentine, Senior Planner with Association of Monterey Bay Area Governments. I don't know if you'll remember, but yes, I'm presenting on our Title VI program. So next slide, please. For some background, Title VI of the Civil Rights Act states that no person shall on the grounds of race, color, or national origin be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any program or activities receiving federal financial assistance. As a metropolitan planning organization who works closely with MST and a recipient of federal transit funds, AMBAG is required to prepare a Title VI program. This program guides the agency's public involvement to ensure it's consistent with federal regulations and must be updated every 3 years. Many items must be included in the document, but special attention is given to outreach to limited English proficiency community members. Next slide. So for your feedback today, AMBAG's draft Title VI program was included as an attachment in your agenda packet. Some of the key sections include the purpose of a Title VI program, AMBAG's Title VI responsibilities, a demographic profile of the region, a language assistance plan with required 4-factor analysis to determine the type of outreach the agency must offer to limited English proficiency community members, AMBAG's Title VI notice, complaint procedures and forms in the most frequently spoken languages in the region, which were identified as English, Spanish, Tagalog, Chinese, Korean, and Mixteco, and a summary of the agency's public participation plan. Next slide. And I apologize, it's a little difficult to read due to the size of the screen, but because spoken language is an important part of determining AMBAG's outreach strategies, I wanted to highlight some key data included in the document. In the on the far left column of the table, you will see, if you squint, you will see the jurisdictions in the region. To the right of that is the number of households, then the number of limited English-speaking households, then the calculated percentages. The map displays the percentage of limited English-speaking households in the region, with the largest dot representing the jurisdictions with over 20%. In Monterey County, we have Greenfield and King City with over 20% limited English-speaking households, and Gonzales, Salinas, and Soledad in the teens. This data is valuable to AMBAG staff as we identify effective community engagement strategies, such as providing interpretation services. And next slide. As for next step, AMBAG's draft Title VI program is available for public review through July 12th. And staff will update the document based on any of the comments received and request AMBAG board adoption at our September meeting. And last slide has my contact information. And of course, I'm available if there's any feedback or questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Valentine?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, next we will move to the Better Bus Network one-year update. Ms. Patel.
Good afternoon, Emma Patel, MST Planning Manager. Wait for my slides to get up there. In December of 2022, MST implemented the Better Bus Network, which was the result of a comprehensive operational analysis. So December 2023 is when we hit the 1-year mark. Next slide, please. So why did we redesign our network? Some of the reasons for the COA were declining ridership and revenue from military partnerships, the COVID-19 health emergency, staffing resources, and over the last 2 decades, we'd made changes throughout the system without a consistent policy on where and how much service to provide. So this was an opportunity for MST to review its service and performance and to help set the direction of the future. Next slide, please. The 3 main features of the Better Bus Network are ridership over coverage, so focusing on better and more frequent service where more people live and work rather than spreading minimal service throughout all parts of the county. Equity over equality, so targeting areas that have the greatest need for public transit. And regional balance of transit service, so doing a better job of balancing service. This led to 40% of service being allocated to the peninsula, 40% to Salinas, and 20% to other areas. Next slide, please. We have a Title VI program at MST, and we have service standards within that program. MST service targets for access within half a mile of bus stops were exceeded within the first year of the Better Bus Network. Next slide, please. In the first year of the Better Bus Network, ridership increased by over 25%, and we saw more than 2 million passengers. The most popular routes are lines 41, 20, and Jazz B. Ridership dropped drastically during the COVID-19 pandemic, but it continues to rapidly increase. In December of 2022, ridership was at about 50% of pre-pandemic volumes, and by December of 2023, that had increased to 64%. Next slide, please. Prior to the Better Bus Network, many of our routes operated at low frequencies, with nearly half of all routes operating once an hour or less. This made it difficult to get anywhere within a reasonable amount of time. Previously, trips between Monterey and Carmel Valley, Sand City and Carmel, and South County and Hartnell College were all 1-seat trips. However, they now require a transfer. However, there are more consistent trips and better on-time performance. Next slide, please. There were 520 trips canceled in the first year of the Better Bus Network. This equates to only 0.2% of all scheduled trips. 252, or about half of these trips, were canceled due to driver shortages. And other reasons for cancellations range from mechanical issues to hazardous road conditions. Next slide, please. Since the Better Bus Network, passengers can enjoy 2 hours of MST services for the price of 1 trip. A passenger must request a transfer when they first board the bus, and it's good for the next 2 hours. 19% of all boardings were made using transfers, which is about 34,000 boardings a month. Lines 24 and 96 had the highest percent of transfer boardings, and lines 5 and line 1 had the highest percent of transfers issued. Next slide, please. In May 2021, MST began offering contactless fare payment technology. In the first year of the Better Bus Network, over 119,000 trips were made using the contactless tap to pay. The prior year saw just under 60,000 trips, which is a 101% increase. Next slide, please. In 2021, the South County Service Plan was adopted, recommending a shift from on-call services to fixed route circulators in each of the South County cities. This would meet the demands of growing communities. Line 34, the King City Circulator, replaced the King City On-Call at the start of the Better Bus Network. It's the first of the South County circulators to be implemented and saw over 5,000 passengers in the first year of service. Overall, South County on-call and circulator boardings have decreased by 4% in the first year of the Better Bus Network. Gonzales and King City on-call and circulator routes saw decreases in ridership, although overall ridership in King City did increase. Soledad and Greenfield on-call saw an increase in ridership. Next slide, please. North County services includes lines 28 and 29 to Watsonville and line 59 to Gilroy. MST began offering a free fare boarding zone in Pajaro in April of 2023 after the massive floods. And this boarding zone has been extended to run through December of 2024. Pajaro boardings increased by 2% in the first year of the Better Bus Network. Ridership north of Salinas increased by 37%, and the most popular locations are the Watsonville Transit Center, Hall and Willow, and Merritt and Pajaro. At the end of October 2023, service was restored between Santa Clara County and Monterey County when line 59 began operation. Since it began operation, we've seen about an average of 34 boardings per month using this line, or 34 daily boardings. Next slide, please. There have been over 58,000 vanpool passengers in 2023. In December of 2023, there were 23 vanpools, which was the same number of vanpools when we began offering the service in October 2022. The number of vanpools varies slightly each month, and there are usually 20 to 23 vanpools a month. In the last 2 months, we have increased that to 24 vanpools. About 43% of trips take place in the Monterey area, followed by San Jose and Salinas. Passengers traveled as far north as San Francisco and Oakland, and as far south as Arroyo Grande, Pismo Beach areas using the vanpool services. Next slide, please. Any questions?
A question for the vanpool. Well, thanks for the presentation. It's pretty great seeing an update on how it's going. But for the vanpool program, could you explain a little more like how one gets registered under that?
So that's with a partnership through Enterprise, Commute by Enterprise. So the registration would be through their website. We have a link on our website, and you basically need at least 4 people who will be carpooling with trips originating or ending in Monterey County.
Oh, okay.
With your ridership, do you ever survey like the reason for riding the bus as far as?
We do. Our marketing team has the survey where they survey why people are riding the bus.
Yeah, interesting to see. Great stuff.
All right, thank you. And then we'll move to the line changes for 61 and 91.
So we have some proposed changes to lines 61 and 91. Next slide, please. The proposed changes to line 61 would allow for more internal parts of Marina to be served. And this would take effect during our September service change. Some of the stops along Reservation Road wouldn't be served by line 61 with these proposed changes. However, line 20 would still be serving all of these stops. And this would allow for line 61 to be able to serve more internal stops, like those along Rain Dollar and Abrams. Currently, there are approximately 600 veterans and a population of around 16,000 people within a quarter mile of the bus stops along line 61. With the proposed changes, this would increase to 900 veterans and a population of about 21,000. Next slide, please. The changes to line 91 are slightly more minor. These changes are due to routing changes along line 5. Line 5 will now go down Carpenter to Ocean instead of Junipero. So we're proposing to change line 91 to go down Sarah and Junipero. The stops at Ocean and Santa Fe that are currently served by line 91 would be served by the new line 5 routing. The Carmel Foundation stop would not be served under this routing. Currently, there's about 1 boarding a day at this stop. However, all the stops along Junipero and Sarah that would otherwise be unserved with the Line 5 reroute will be served by Line 91. Next slide, please. Any comments or feedback?
Can I just call on Leticia, because you mentioned about Carmel Foundation not being served.
What was the percentage you mentioned that utilize this line?
That it has a daily average boardings of about 1 person a day.
So I think most of the people who use that is people who are coming from Pacific Meadows or throughout the area. So we'll see if it's going to be affecting more people that perhaps were not accounted for. I don't know. How did you come up with that number?
The 1 boarding per day. We have an APC system, which stands for automatic passenger counter. So every time somebody boards the bus, the system picks that up and it has the coordinates of where they're getting picked up. So we have all that stop
I see.
information.
Interesting.
Is there not a second stop on the top corner of the property?
I haven't
Uh,
seen one. So it's one that is right in the corner of Lincoln and 8th. That's the one that she's referring to.
Okay. So there's not one on,
No, they
Yeah,
would have to
see.
walk farther down 3 blocks from where we are,
okay,
close to Davendorf Park.
okay.
Well, to be continued, right? See how it's going to be affecting these individuals who are taking it for this person.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Program updates from Christie.
Good afternoon, everyone. Christy Sogabo, Mobility Services Manager. Next slide, please. So there are 5 core programs that MST offers funded by Measure Q. MST Rides Program, the Taxi Voucher Program, Travel Training Program, Transportation Reimbursement Incentive Program, TRIPS, and the Navigator Volunteer Program. I will be providing an annual update to each of these programs. Next slide, please. So starting with the MST Rides Program, in cooperation with the Americans with Disability Act, ADA, MST offers this program to customers who have a disability that prevents them from using the regular route bus services. In order to participate, one will have to qualify by completing an application and an interview. Once enrolled, certification can be issued as temporary, 3 years, or permanent. All trip requests are by reservation, no same-day service, and trips are shared ride. Service is operated on the same hours as the regular bus services within 3/4 of a mile corridor from an MST bus stop. Fee for the service is $2 for each one-way trip. A personal care provider can ride for free, but a companion would pay a fare of $2, same as that of the participant. Next slide, please. So in 2023, mobility staff reviewed 639 applications, 525 were new applicants, and 114 were recertification. Of the 639 applications, 636 were approved and 3 were not eligible for the program. Ended the year 2023 with 2,552 total enrolled participants in the program. I do notice a typo on my slides there. Under registered client, it shows 632. That should be corrected to 636. The 632 is actually reflecting unconditional eligibility for the program itself. 75% of the registered clients are ambulatory, while 25% are wheelchair dependent. And the rides clients' age range varies. So you have 37%, 17 to 61, while 24% are ages 62 to 70, and 35% are 71 to 90 years of age. As of April 2024, We currently have 2,716 enrolled in the program. Next slide, please. Moving on to our second program, the taxi voucher program. There are 3 different categories for the taxi voucher program. The elderly, this is for seniors who are 65 years old and older, persons with disabilities and veterans. This program requires proof of eligibility in order to enroll and receive taxi vouchers. We currently have voucher distribution and sign applications within each of the participating cities and partnered with persons with disabilities and veterans organization service providers. Once participants receive their voucher, they can call any of our participating cab company. Currently, we have Yellow Cab, Orange Cab 1, Orange Cab 2, South Cab, and Marina Cab. They can provide transportation for the voucher trips, and each voucher has a value of $14. Each one-way trip will cost a voucher and a $3 copay for a taxi meter reading of $17. If the taxi meter is more than the $17, the riders is responsible to pay for the difference. The taxi voucher trips are only valid anywhere within the city limits of Salinas, Marina, Seaside, Sun City, Monterey, Delray, Oaks, Pacific Grove, Carmel, Carmel Valley, and Pebble Beach. Next slide, please. There are currently 10 distribution sites for the senior vouchers and 2 sign-up locations. 3 distribution sites for persons with disability, and then there are 4 distribution sites for the veterans voucher. In 2023, we had 63% of trips were taken by seniors, 35% were taken by persons with disabilities, and 2% taken by veterans. Our participants are currently at 66% seniors, 28% persons with disabilities, and 6% veterans. As of today, we are expanding the taxi voucher program for seniors in South County, but that information, I'll leave it up to Kevin. He will be providing information on this for his update, since the information relates to taxi services regulated by the Monterey County Regional Taxi Authority. So as of April 2024, there are 7,066 participants in the program. Next slide, please. The travel training program is teaching individuals how to safely and independently travel using the MST bus system. Travel training sessions can be done one-on-one or in groups. Enrollment is very simple. Simply contact our travel training phone line or email mobility@mst.org to participate, or visit any of our customer service locations to inquire. Skills learned will vary depending on the participant's need. It can include planning a trip, boarding with mobility device, learning how to read schedules, or identifying the correct bus to use. Our mobility travel trainers have worked with organizations such as Interim, senior housing facilities, senior centers, and schools, as well as veterans organizations like Veterans Transition Center, VTC. Participants receive a free bus pass during the training to use during their trip. Next slide, please. So as of 2023, there were a total of 488 persons who participated in our travel training sessions. Also in 2023, MST Mobility became a partner with the Aquarium Free to Learn program. In our travel training program, mobility staff are able to take a group trip to the aquarium as their destination for free entrance, and then also learn how to use the MST bus system to and from the aquarium. Next slide, please. Then we have the Transportation Reimbursement Incentive Program, TRIPS. This is a volunteer driver program where a senior who's 65 and older, persons with disability, or a veteran who lives more than 3/4 of a mile walking distance from MST bus stop can choose their own designated volunteer driver. MST will then reimburse the qualified individuals so that they can reimburse their volunteer driver who use their own vehicle to provide their transportation. Reimbursement trips are for trips that are more than 3/4 miles walking distance to the nearest MST bus stop, and reimbursement rate is at 62.5 cents per mile up to 240 miles per month. which is an equivalent to 150 per month. Eligibility is 2 years and it requires a renewal. And at the end of 2023, we are at 107 participants, 71 seniors, 24 disabled veterans, 12. But currently, as of April, we have 128 enrolled in the program. Next slide, please. So we ended the year 2023 with 31,647 reimbursed trips since the program has started. The pie chart there illustrates the breakdown of the overall type of trips the participants are being reimbursed for. So 40% is for shopping, 28% community centers, 28% for medical appointments, 7% for visiting family and friends, and then 2% is travel to and from work. As of April 2024, total trips reimbursement is at 35,262. Next slide, please. Then last, we have our Navigator Volunteer Program. The Navigator Volunteer Program are volunteers who help promote MST services and mobility programs to the public and provide bus ride experience feedback to MST or work alongside MST staff at outreach events. Volunteers are assigned at senior centers throughout Monterey County to regularly do outreach activities. Locations include such as Aldemeyer Center in Seaside, Schultz Park Senior Center in Monterey, Sally Griffith Center in Pacific Grove, Junsei Oaks Apartment Community Center in Marina, Chispa Senior Housing Community Centers in Salinas, and also Meals on Wheels, Salinas Valley, South County, and North County social events. We ended the year 2023 with 5 volunteers. Unfortunately, one did end up resigning, so we are now down to 4 active volunteers. We do continuously recruit for new ones. So if you know of anyone who's 16 years old or older interested in giving back to the community, have them reach out to MST. Also, I do want to add, in recognition of April as the National Volunteer Month, the Navigator volunteers were recognized at the MST Board of Directors meeting last month in April for their work and dedication to volunteering for MST. Next slide, please. And that completes my presentation, but I'll be happy to answer any question.
So question.
Yeah.
Ms. Chrissy, for the very detailed and informative presentation. I guess 2 questions for the taxi voucher program. So I saw how you listed the service areas of which cities are served. Do folks who use the taxi program, are they only allowed to travel between those service area cities? Or could they say start from one of those cities and then go outside the service area?
They can start from one city and go outside the service area, but the meter reading will only account for $17. So anything outside that $17 will be the responsibility for the rider to pay.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. And then I guess my second question, or something I kind of noticed on the maps for the trips program.
Yeah,
I saw somebody all the way from Parkfield.
that is
using
correct.
that too. So
Yes.
yeah, I was curious if you knew anything about that individual or individuals that use the service all the way out there.
So this individual does qualify for the program, and I believe currently has a work site in King City. So they have a volunteer driver that provides that transportation to and from.
Okay, that's really impressive.
Yeah,
It's super secluded over there.
right, yeah.
Thanks.
Really quickly, can you explain how the TRIPS program came about? Was it just like a community assessment, or what really led to MST to developing the TRIPS program?
Well, so the TRIPS program is geared toward folks who lives outside our service area. And we were trying to meet a gap because since our bus services doesn't serve those areas, and these are also folks that are not provided services with any other mobility programs, services that we offer. And that's kind of essentially how it came about. It started back in 2018. It started, when it first started, it was quite slow. It took a while for the program to actually gauge participation. But yeah, we're at 128 now, so the program is doing its job by targeting folks that lives outside our MST service area.
Is that an application process to get drivers for that, or was it just a family member who volunteers?
So to participate, you must enroll because you have to be either a senior 65 or older person with disability or a veteran. But there is no application for the volunteer driver. So it is you can designate your volunteer driver. It could be a family, a friend, or a caregiver. So the relationship is between the participant of the program with their volunteer driver.
Okay, but it's not like the process where you match a driver in this area to a person in that area.
No.
Thank you, Christy.
Thank you.
All right, next we will hear from David on MV Transit and MST rides updates.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dave Cox. I'm the general manager for MV Transportation. And just want to give you a little update as far as how we are doing. This first slide you see here, this is our trips by purpose. This is for our division, MV Transportation. As you see, our top three trips for purpose are main one is education, training, and daily daycare, which go then dialysis passengers, and then recreational and personal travel. So yeah, ridership has definitely increased there. And if we go to the next slide, basically the same information, but this is with Yellow Cab, who we're partnered with, that we subcontract out. If we have trips that are over and above that we can handle for a certain day, we'll send them some trips in the morning or the night before. And it's basically the same purpose for the trips. Top three are personal, recreational, dialysis patients, and medical appointments. Let me go to the next slide. Okay, this next one here, this is our rides trips. As you can see, over the last 3 years, our trips have increased, which is good. There's been steady improvements each month, and the past 3 years. And then also the ride passengers have steadily increased as well. The ridership, the demand for ridership has increased. With our division, I've been trying to hire for the past year, and I've hired roughly about 30 to 40 new drivers since last year. And with this increase in ridership, that's definitely helped out our operation. If you can go to the next slide. Okay, this one, excuse me, this is our passenger per revenue hour. We're holding steady over the last 3 years. Our goal at our division is 1.87 passengers per hour. We don't quite hit that each month. It's a goal that I've been striving to hit each month, but it's just one of those things. As we have the increase in ridership and the increase in drivers, hitting that number it's hard to do. But it's actually a good thing too, because we don't have as many passengers on the bus all at one time. So there's less passengers on the bus, which gets them to their destination sooner. So it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, I guess, at the same time, if you look at it that way. On-time performance, our goal is to be at 90% each month. We are not quite hitting that goal. We're slightly off. This month right now, it's not reflected on here, but I checked before we arrived. We're at 84% for the month, with a few days left to go. So we'll probably end up right around 85% on-time performance. This goal here is, holds true to me. I'm a big proponent of on-time performance, and I'm really striving hard to get us to where we need to be. I think with the additional drivers that I have on board now, we are finally fully staffed. This goal should be achieved within the next month or two. So I would hope by the next time we have a meeting that we'll see at 90% up here. All right, and next slide. Getting there. There we go. All right, this is our call hold times. I am staffed with our dispatcher, so this number here should be where we need to be at. With our at least at the 95 percentile. There are days where our dispatchers do get hung up on a call a little bit longer than others, as they're booking multiple trips with a passenger or trying to explain the rides program. So it's a lot of lines here. It's you got to kind of study it to really get a full view of it. But yeah, our goal is at 95%. We're right there where we need to be at. All right, if we can go to the next slide. This slide here also indicates how many complaints we receive between rides trips. As you can see, the green dotted line, if you could see it, that's where we need to be at. We're exceeding our goal there. We're performing more trips than we are receiving complaints, which is a great thing. Our majority of our service complaints is that, either the driver was running behind, or maybe on our fixed operation, the passenger wasn't seen at the bus stop or something like that. It fluctuates, but majority of that is on-time performance. They arrived to their appointment late or were ready to go at their destination to be picked up to come back home, and we weren't readily available for them. But there is definitely some nice improvement there. And that is my last slide for our program. Do we have any questions? All right. Well, this next one has to do with MV Transportation as well, but I'm going to pass this over to Kevin to handle this one here.
You're up, Kevin. Right.
I'm going to first do a quick update on the expansion of taxi service into South County, and then we'll get to the driver recognitions. So first off, one of the goals of the MCRTA Monterey County Regional Taxi Authority for this year has been to expand service into South County. It's a goal that we've had for a really long time. It's a challenge because, as we all know, the county is huge. It's very spread out. The South County cities are also kind of spread out from each other. And there are a few operators that can really handle expanding service. But we've made some significant progress over the last year. So I'll just update you on that. So we reached out to the 4 South County cities: King City, Gonzales, Soledad, and Greenfield. And just wanted to get a sense of what their current regulatory framework is for taxis. King City and Gonzales, it's pretty robust. So we were able to work with them to have them pass ordinances by their board. So an ordinance was passed by King City in February and in Gonzales in March that will essentially allow those cities to accept Monterey County Regional Taxi Authority permitted drivers and vehicles. The 2 other cities, Greenfield and Soledad, only required a business license. So in the meantime, while we've sort of been getting this all ready, Yellow Cab, which is currently the only RTA permitted provider that has the ability that has enough drivers to be able to handle this expansion. They have gotten business licenses for King City, Gonzales, and Greenfield, and they're just waiting on their business license for Soledad. But they're ready to go. So Yellow Cab's ready to go. It's just a matter of working with the cities. We met with King City last week to just update them on the progress and get a sense of them, how they wanted, their taxi vouchers distributed. And the hope is that they send out a newsletter. So for their July newsletter, they're hoping to be able to get that information out to the community that the taxi voucher program is up and running in their city. And then, for the other cities, it's the same thing, just really getting the word out, and doing, outreach, letting people know that Yellow Cab is now operating in those cities. So yeah, I'd say by the time that we have our next MAC meeting, hopefully all 4 cities will be, having Yellow Cab providing service. So that's the update for that. Does anyone have any questions?
So is Yellow Cab just operating overall in addition to the taxi voucher program in those cities?
Yeah, they could. I mean, we saw the taxi voucher program as sort of a vehicle to generate demand. But yeah, now that they're down there, they can, it doesn't just have to be for taxi vouchers.
No, that's great. I mean, I live in Greenfield myself, and that distance to Soledad being only 8 minutes on the freeway
Right.
makes or break, what do I need to get here in this town? What do I need to get in King City?
Right.
So hopefully it'll bridge some connectivity.
Yeah. And on that point, I really wanted to highlight that the voucher program, it's intended for short trips. That's where it really kind of makes the most sense. Again, once the meter goes over $17, you're paying $3.50 a mile. So that obviously adds up pretty quick. But yeah, hopefully down the line, we'll be able to have vouchers that maybe cover a little bit more. I don't know. We're exploring different, ideas around that, but that's above my pay grade. So.
Question, Kevin, do you
Yes.
guys envision expanding the program now that you have more cities, obviously more residents? So are you guys earmarking things differently? Is distribution going to, increase?
I know that we
funding?
did receive, a grant recently for some taxi vouchers, so we might, be able to use some funding for that. But yeah, I'm not sure. Christy or Ruben or others might.
We're still in the early stage of the expansion, so we're still looking into it.
We should talk, I've got a rural pipeline of some funding we should talk about. Good, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So I'll just stay up here, I guess.
Move on.
Last one.
Now,
All right.
appreciations.
So I'm really excited about this. Driver appreciations. We don't do this enough. We don't. It's just something that's really important. It's important to let people know when they're doing a good job, when they're providing excellent service. And today, we've got two great drivers that I wanted to talk about. Let me just get on the right page here. So if we can have Joe come up, you want to come on up here? So we'll start with Joe. How long have you been a driver?
I'm on 6 years.
6 years. All right. So, it's not often that we get compliments. It's just kind of human nature that people don't often let people know that when they receive great service. It's more often that we let people know when we don't receive great service. And that's just kind of human nature. So when we do get these compliments, we really need to highlight them and make a big deal about it. So early, I think this was in April, we got a customer compliment. And I'll just read what they said. The reporting party called in to say that Joe is an awesome driver who is always assisting the senior passengers with their heavy items, packages as they board and deboard the bus. And that this passenger always looks forward to the day that he has that route, line 94, and that he has a good heart. And yeah, so I just, wanted to invite you up here, say thank you so much for all the hard work that you do and for providing excellent service. And so we've got this little certificate of appreciation and recognition for your outstanding dedication and exceptional service as a contracted operator. Your commitment to safety, punctuality, and courteous service has made a significant impact on our community. So there you go. Already. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Background because there's like that bus there.
Sure, why not? All right, and we wanted to highlight another driver, Hector Camacho. He's a yellow cab driver, so MV contracts with Yellow Cab to provide additional service for rides. Yeah, come on up. He's shy, but he's a great guy, So yeah, Yellow Cab driver. So oftentimes MV needs to dispatch Yellow Cab to provide, service. And Mr. Camacho was dispatched for a trip out in Prunedale to pick up passenger Mr. Jimmy Frechette. When he arrived, he witnessed that Mr. Frechette was in distress. He was down on the ground and unresponsive. Recognizing, the urgency, recognizing that Mr. Frechette was in distress, he immediately engaged EMS and was just there for the family while, this was all going on. Obviously, a very stressful situation for everyone involved. And sadly, Mr. Frechette did pass away that day. So it was very sad. But it clearly left an impact on the family because I did receive a call that day from Loretta Salinas. Just let us know that, Hector really, he went above and beyond what he needed to do. He was very empathetic and he was just really there for the family in what was, obviously just a really tragic situation. And really appreciate that you guys called and let us know, what happened. And I'm also very sorry for your loss.
Thank you very much.
So Hector, thank you so much for stepping up, in that time of tragedy and for, being empathetic and just doing the right thing. So same thing, in recognition of your outstanding dedication and exceptional service. Your commitment to safety, punctuality, and courteous service has made a significant impact on our community. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And get a picture. This is the family. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, please.
This is very emotional. That's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. At this program, this was for Hector, this was probably a very stressful situation and going there, but he remained there for about 40 minutes while everything was going on. He never left. He was there to answer any questions, to be supportive, amazing. But just for the program in whole, my father did this program for about 2 years, a little bit over 2 years. And every single driver was special to him. They helped him in and out of the car. He was a little disabled, 89 years old when he passed a couple months ago. Had a little trouble with balance, but they always got him into the car, out of the car. And he also said, great conversation. So this for him was special. Because the hardest thing as a senior is losing your independence. And you don't have that. So even though we could take him everywhere, he wanted his own. He wanted to take care of his own and call the service and come out here. So he had so many special relationships with so many of your drivers. That just was amazing. And it was special for him and special for us that he got that kind of treatment. And I appreciate the service you guys have gone off and provided for seniors in this community.
Yeah, it was life-changing for him, just to let you know, he had macular degeneration. He was raised on a farm. He was a tough guy, never complained about anything, but independence was so important to him, and you all provided that.
Yes.
And the social piece of it, interacting with the drivers, he knew Hector, Hector knew him. It was a personal relationship, which you don't find in many places, but your drivers provided that to him, which enriched his life. I also want to commend all of you, as my husband said, to publicly recognize amazing human beings, not just drivers, but just amazing human beings. You can imagine me driving up, you can see how emotional I am now, but driving up to that, and Hector was such a calming influence. His empathy, his kindness, just reflects what you represent. So, we'll forever be grateful to him and grateful for the service that you provided. Our dad, he loved all the drivers, and had many stories to tell us about the conversations that took place, all good ones, but, we're just, so grateful for Hector and for what you provided him. And, I, am part of the Active Seniors. I'm on the board at the Active Seniors, and, we've had someone out there from MST making presentations, and it is such an amazing service for seniors, and we just appreciate and value what you provide. So thank you so much for allowing us to share. Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's another year.
Can I fit there?
If I have to go sideways. Got a white line.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
Oh, and one more note, Kevin is also an amazing representative for your organization. When I called, it was the day that we lost my father-in-law. He was so incredible, so empathetic, that I can't say enough for him. So you have a keeper right here.
Your check's in the mail.
I'll be waiting.
All right.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 2:06 p.m. Next meeting is.
Sorry, number 8?
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, are there any items for next agenda coming up on July 31st that we would like to include? Please feel free to either email them to Ruben, just Ruben. All right, now we'll adjourn, still at 2:06 p.m. Next meeting is scheduled for July 31st. I look forward to seeing everyone then on time.